there are set of module there are set of modules in place where we are talking about just the cloud application integration part. Okay, what this is going to cover up, this is going to cover up the overall ICS, platform. It talks about what really are the basic components, the various microservices inside it. Okay, now the next topic is cloud application integration. So cloud application integration introduction will be given to you, help you understand what this microservices is, how this is different than the power center world, what this is capable of doing it. Next topic is about CAI features. So within the features, we will see the work area, the controls available to access the CAI platform, which is more about working around the processes and all. While we develop a process, we will be needing various assets to be integrated out there that helps us build the process. So we'll see the uses of those assets, how those can be integrated within a process, and how that makes your business process gets successfully implemented. Similarly, we have components out there. These components will have different aspects with the process. We'll see those components also. Now there will be a working session with the CAI. So what we'll do is we'll create the process, processes, etc., right, and see how they are interlinked to each other, how we can put the control. Those things will also get covered here, work within the working session of CAI. Business scenario. So with my experience, I will also share you the examples, the processes which I have developed, right, and how that was helping the business to achieve their goals. Application integration console is your is your driving panel. Okay, when a driver runs the overall system, he sees everything right from the um, from the console. So exactly that's what here it is. Jilan, probably you can stop you know running these controls over the screen. Next thing is API manager. I think that is the future. API manager is going to be the future. Remember, guys, you are so far working with databases, with certain applications, enterprise applications and all, but everything is now turning towards API manager. So that will be also well get covered, right, in our sessions. And then something called API portal. They are interlinked to each other. Portal is the place where we set our controls. Okay, manager is the place where we start handing it over to third party as in consumers or association of all the um, APIs which is in our place. Now let's go and see the detail of what we are going to cover up. Understanding the basic of the process designer. What is a process? That will be covered. How process is different, why it was not there in the power center world, and if it is in IICS world, then what really it is meeting, what kind of objective it is meeting. So technical prospects will definitely get covered with, including the practical sessions. Next thing is process designer overview. Process designer overview is a play area where you develop your process, bring in all the controls out there, and you set what to be done when. What if a step A runs, then what if a step B runs? How we can interlink between step A and C? Where do I kill my job? Where do I start my job? Can I trigger another set of job? All those things will get covered right here into the process section. So we will be also saying to create a process. Process can be created using various runtime environments, right? So those topics will also get covered here. And those are the intelligent decisions which we have to take when we create a process. Right there itself, we'll have to decide on which platform do I want to run the process. Then within the process, there are various steps, which are again the controls, which helps the process end-to-end building. You'll see that. Then the actions on the process. What kind of various parameter based controls are available at the process, those things will also be seen. Any questions, any queries? Am I going fast? Are you following it clearly? Some of you can unmute and
No, we will follow.
okay, thank you. Next thing is create a basic process. So when we do that, okay, when we do that, creating a basic process, um, it also helps us to integrate with something called, manual user-based input. Okay, so what happens is in Power Center world, you would have seen that when you create a workflow, it can be scheduled or it can be event based, right? Or a certain third party application can call it as an external scheduler. But that limits you to do certain things, like there can be a parameter file where you can read in the value, but at runtime, if you want to send some values, that's where is the topic of user input. Okay, user at runtime can give different inputs, so that's a user friendly input parameter that will be shown here. Similarly, we can have static messages also. What are those messages? We will also see that. Create a basic process to display user input. As I said, like, when the user gives an input to a process at runtime level, they can also see what those values are. Right? Those topics will get covered here. Now, working with the assets, when we work with the assets, we will see what are the various types of assets and what they really do. When I say type of assets, it's like various tools available within the process. They allow the capability to build the process and control it in the way you want to run the job. Then there is something called process object. Process objects are the logical container, and they are temporary holder of the values, and they are flexible enough as per the metadata of your objects. Connectors. Connectors, you all coming from Power Center world would have seen. When you are connecting to a database or to an application, you create a connection. So when you say connection, the same thing in the Power Center world is called connectors. And this is wide. This is super wide in the sense you name the application and Informatica has connector in place. So I call it in-house connectors. Okay, excuse me. So connectors from CDI world, cloud data integration can get coupled in. That's why I've given a topic called, connectors. So that will be more about CDI connectors, which can be inherited. And then there can be application connectors. So we create connections, and based on that, we can create the application connectors. Application connector are directly linked with the process. That's why we have to create it. Then there is something called service connector. This is this topic is linked to, we just now talked about API manager and API portal, right? And we also talked about um, where is that, APIs, right? So service connector will also cover up the API part. So when you create a service connector, it is basically referencing to the API. Remember, this is very important topic. Whenever you create a service connector, you have to create a wrapper around it, which is again an application connector. And then getting that imported, getting that inbuilt and used within the process. Now what we'll do is we'll create a process with the process object. We just now talked here a process object as in topic, right? We'll create that within the process and see what really that is, and then create a service connector. Obviously, when we create a service connector, we'll use that within a process and we'll see how to access it around. Now next thing is just within the application connection, there can be various type of connections, right? There can be cloud-based connection, on-prem connections, or application-based connections. So some of them have been covered, right? It's not the end. There can be many more in place. Okay. So what I am showing here is application connection overview. What really it is? How do we create it? Where are the controls? What are the various parameters we have to pass as part of creating the application connection? Next thing is JDBC connection. You can create a JDBC connection. We'll see what are parameters are required. We'll see that. File connection is again when you say file, that is definitely our on-prem thing. When I say on-prem, it is your secure agent based items. Those can be inherited using the file connection. Amazon S3 connections. Again, I think you will all would have heard. Amazon S3 connectors are again cloud-based storage capability which can be integrated right into the Informatica cloud platform. Those connections will also create and see. Uh, when you generalize all of them, it is called application connection. So we create application connections and integrate that with the process. And definitely creation step will also get covered up. And see, all these steps are, all these application connections are assets. So we do also see that how do we manage those assets, right? What if I have to update an asset, then what is the impact of it? What if I have to create a new one and keep it ready only for a certain set of people? So that also, those topics are called asset management. Now, the next thing I think well elaborated, in this is very advanced topic, which is adding a web services to a process. It's like so far you would have connected your process to a database that can be, SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, Sybase, DB2, Netezza, Exasol, whatever you call it, all right? But have you ever think of connecting your application to Facebook or Twitter or Google News? Right? Everything has an API in place. So if you want to connect your business process to the API world, we can achieve it using the web services. So we'll see the web services overview, right? Representation state transfer, which is nothing other than the REST. So REST are very commonly and frequently used API types. I'm gonna cover up that. Anybody interested on the any other kind of APIs, I will try to cover up those things also. Okay, those are on-demand things. SOAP is the other one. Okay, just for your information. So REST endpoint in the process designer, how do we configure that? Those topics you'll see. Adding web services in a process. It's like you created a connector for Facebook and now you want to integrate that in your process. That step will be covered right here. Methods of web service call. There are various basics of API. Anybody is having here API background? Anybody? Kishore?
No,
Okay. No, no one in this team is having a background of API. Anybody have heard of Postman?
I heard, but we don't have experience.
Okay, okay. Okay, great. Definitely. I mean, that will be a quick click for you all. Okay, that I will ensure. That will be the pleasure of this connect. Okay. So methods of various web services call implementing the synchronous web service and asynchronous. We'll see that in practical example. Okay. Now, next thing is when you build something, it may break. If it breaks, what do you want to do? Right? You buy a motorbike, right? And that motorbike has various fault handling mechanism in place. Nowadays, right? If you do not turn on the side stand, turn off, sometimes the engine will not start, right? So those kind of intelligences are not being brought in the motorcycle world. Similarly, Informatica Cloud, it says that you are running process, which is running your business. What if it breaks at some time? How do you catch those faults? How do you take the corrective actions against it? So that section is called your fault handling. So fault handling overview will be covered. Why do we need that? Those examples, classical examples, I will be able to explain and share. Why do we need that? Fault handling techniques. So there can be external world which can, take that up, but Informatica has its own inbuilt fault handling mechanism, and that has I have seen that it's practically helping and very much matured enough. You don't have to rely on outside world. Okay, design guidelines for the fault handling. Again, what we do it here is we'll see what are the various controls available to do the fault handling. Methods to return the fault from a process. So a process may fail and it will speak a lot story, right? What component do you want to catch, right? When you see a failure at connecting to people coming from power center background, okay? When you see the failure coming from a database, it can fall under various category. Maybe the session timeout, maybe the constant getting violated, maybe certain other attributes or some values are being truncated and all, right? So they all are a little bit kind of false. And when it happens, by default, connectors, right, the connection which you have used is having capability to capture the details in the log, right? And then you are able to trap the actual error message. So exactly this is what we can do right here, even in the process, right? View process details and then advanced view of the fault handling of it, right? And see, when something fails, you would have seen in your practical world is that people will tell you, give me the detailed log of it, what time it got failed, because of what it failed, what was the network throughput, etc., right? Lot of things. So those are called advanced view, and we must have understanding of exploring the system, my own system which I have built. I'm just seeing the log of it, right? So those are called the advanced view. Advanced view has various components also inside it. We will have a practical working session to look into it. A process may call another process, so that is calling sub-process failure. So if something fails, we'll also go and see those examples, practical examples. Okay. Introduction to guide designer. So I just now talked about one of the topic here on the top is when you run a process, it can read the static inputs right from your parameter, or you may run some scripts to update your parameter so that those parameters can get used while your jobs are running. What if I want to give that control right to the driver, that whenever you start, you can, let's say there is a business process which takes input of currency, okay, says that, okay, I am running same set of business, but this time I want to run in INR. So he wants to change the currency. All the transaction now will be happening in the INR. What if he wants to change to USD, right? So that was just one example, okay? At runtime, if I want to change it, we can use something called guide designer. As the name explains, guide, it will it will have a lovely, simulating GUI, right? Graphical user interface for the users to decide if I give a control A, then there can be further control B and C, which one to choose. Those guides can be designed by us as a developer, which gives a better experience to user rather simply getting a process scheduled and all. Okay. So yeah, with that, the topic here will be covered is, guide designer steps, then guide simulations. How do we simulate a existing guide and see the result set out of it? Running a guide with user input, you will pass an input as a user and see that how the process runs. Guide theme, guide images. It also allows us to set up the theme and the images, which is which helps us to set up a good GUI interface. We will have a specific lab session for this, which will talk about how to create the simple guide, how users will be able to give in the parameters, and those parameters will decide what further actions to go. The next topic here is any questions so far? Taking silence as no. Next topic here is API management. As I said, API management itself is way much wide. So we'll see one of the control. This is microservices, guys. Okay. This is one of the microservices called API Manager, a separate service offered by Informatica Cloud. Create managed API, delete managed API. So what happens is like you may create n number of APIs, right? And there will be a maintenance behind it. Creation is one of the steps. In the same way, you can delete it also. We'll see how we do that. Customize managed API URL. So say you'd have seen, sometimes in the actually the URL is way much wide, way much bigger. Let's say 100, 200 characters, but there are capability of zipping it and bringing it to some 10, 20 characters, right? So those are customized, managed API URLs, because when we hand it over to third party as a consumer, we want to give it a business meaningful name. So that's where is the option of customized managed API URL. API can be fall within a group. There can be certain policy implemented. There will be certain analytics on top of it. Analytics in the sense when they run. These are important point, guys. When they run, we want to see the statics out of it, the insights of it, that how was the overall API accessibility. I can give my same API to 20 customers. I want to see how many they are running, what was the failure within last 50 24 hours, etc. There are a lot of things into the analytics side of it, which will help you decide how is my overall health. Now API portal and then API registry. Okay, that is within your API management. Authentication for managed API. Authentication is like you develop an API and you want to give it to your consumer. So when they consume it, they will be needing certain credentials, right, to access the API. So those managements will be learning right here into the authentication of managed API. Create managed API for a process and integrate that right within the process. The beautiful part is CAI, Cloud Application Integration, can talk to CDI. So I have given a special topic, though CDI will be a separate one. But what it does is it helps you establish the relationship between CDI and CAI. For Power Center world, people think, can you directly connect a workflow with a mapping? No. The interface here is session. You have to create a session, and that session gets integrated with the workflow. In the same way, we will make sure that there will be sessions covered talking CAI to CDI. Overview of again IICS, creating the connections, flat file connections, overview of mapping designer, invoking a mapping into the CAI. So that's the beautiful part of it. There is a mapping which is part of CDI, but that CDI mapping can be directly called into CAI. We will also create a flat file connection, and these flat file connections are not for a mapping. Okay, this can be directly consumed by your CAI process. A process will consume a flat file connection. A process will directly consume the application connections. I think I did that topic left. Okay, application connection will also get covered out here. Then there will be working session to explore on flat file connection, consume that within the process. So the real-time integration of how a flat file can be consumed by the process. Create a basic mapping and the mapping task, get that integrated right with the process. So these are the working session, these two. Okay. Oh, I think here is the problem in working mapping in this. Yeah, it's all right here. This will be very interesting topic, guys. Okay, this will be very interesting, and this will be your real time, your real life challenges. You'll be given your projects. You will have to implement that. Troubleshooting tips and tricks, best practices. This I always put while I give in the sessions, right? Any of the corporate session or individual batch sessions. I do ensure to share my experience, what I have done. So those all will be like more of how do we manage the assets and the process, the commonly seen issues and the respective fixes. If you see some kind of troubleshooting methods also will be explained right here. And many more, actually, this is not the end. There are many more which I'll be covering on the fly, right? We will be having the session. So content, I have quickly walked through. Any specific topic you guys see, those who are, specific to certain subject model can raise your hand and can ask that. I will see to, put my level best out here. Any,
Yeah, that is fine. Can you please share this course content in WhatsApp group?
yeah, surely.
Thank
Hmm.
Guys, feel free to ask any questions regarding the course content, or you are expecting more some other areas. Okay. So basically, we are designing the program like this content we are going to covering. If you want to take any additional concepts, or if you want to expect some additional area, please feel free to open to concepts over here. We'll take a part in our sessions.
Yeah, sure. But I can see like I don't have any much idea about like this cloud IICS, but I can see like application integration and data integration. That content is showing less or what? Yeah, or that is enough, because I don't have any idea on that. So because when people are talking about in real time scenario, so they are using mostly data integration and application integration. But when I seen like the module 10,
Mhm.
the course content is very less for application integration.
See, these are all the,
Module 10.
so this
The
is the,
module 10 and 9. So I'm talking about where it is the application integration content uh, and that
see,
one data integration content.
yeah, see, Ashish.
Oh.
See, Ashish. So the thing you are referring for 10, point number 10. So whatever the data integration objects also we can able to handle in application integration side. So that is the core point. So rest all points are comes into application integration side only. How we are going to take the connections, and how we are going to build the process. So these are all the things. So whatever we are seeing in the screen, these are all the application integration content only. So coming to data integration part is different. So those content also we shared in the group soon, today or tomorrow. So you can have a look into those part as well. So data integration jobs also we can call into data application integration as well. Application integration, that much capability to read out the data integration jobs as well. So that is the point.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, please add that content and just share it in the group so we can just clarify like what topic we are going to cover.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, we'll do that.
And in addition to that, what you have seen here is the breakup of cloud application integration.
Yeah.
So when I say process designer, that is also part of CAI only. When I say working with the basic process, that is also same. Assets is again part of CAI only. Application connection is also part of CAI only. Web services, you will not see that in CDI. It's again CAI only. Fault handling, yes, it is at both the places, but yes, we will be explicitly covering that for CDI and CAI both.
Okay.
Guide designer is very much specific to CAI only. It is not there in CDI. API management definitely, if you want to see a very high level insight, I can show you one thing. Let's see whether these things are there in my topic or not. Overview of platform process designer, working with assets, adding web services, fault handling, right? Guide designer, API management, CDI and CAI integration. Um, so that was just from the topic perspective. But if you go and see the, okay, wait a minute, CAI micro services. You see this screen?
Yes.
It is service getting started, right? Service getting started topic. So you see this picture. This picture will give you a good background of what we are going to cover up. We talked about API manager. We talked about API portal. We talked about application integration. We also talked about application integration console, right? These
Okay.
all topics are, sorry, including your administration. And if you scroll it down, there will be two more, right, which are part of CI component. But if you see this data integration and monitor, where is monitor? I think if you scroll it down, and data profiling, data quality, those all are part of, see, there is a specific service PC to cloud migration. So they all are data CDI component. Okay. So our topics,
Okay.
what we have covered right here in the document is the mix of all of this, right? API manager,
Okay.
API portal, application. So these are all offered service by Informatica. That's all.
Okay. So here where it is the data integration.
So here is data integration. Do you see?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's your data integration.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Don't worry. In the upcoming sessions, you will see in detail how I'm breaking down the services into the categories, how they are interlinked to each other. Those things will get covered in detail. You don't have to, as I said, like you don't have to learn, you have to play with this tool. Okay. Nothing will break. It will not cause any penny to you. Whatever you want, just play with this, tool, and that's how you make yourself comfortable. Don't
Okay.
learn is what I always suggest. We play with the tool. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
So guys, any other question? I'll ask a very basic question to the people coming from Power Center world. Why do we need Informatica? Anybody would like to, answer that? Feel free. Okay, it can be wrong, it can be right, it can be just 10% correct. Okay, that's all right.
So
Why do we need
so
Informatica?
So Informatica is this is a ETL tool. So just we are loading the data from like extracting, transforming, and loading. So it's easy to, yeah, easy to use to get the data from source and to load in the target. So we have like some transformation and all those things. So we can restrict condition, we can filter out, we can do all those things. So we can see like for sorting, aggregating, and all those things, whatever we can manipulate the data, and we can take from the source and we can load the target. So in that way, we are using. So as per my knowledge, I can say this word only.
Well explained, I think. Very much well explained. Okay. But you started with a very beautiful word called ETL. Okay. Now the cloud world, I'm trying to relate your answer to cloud world. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the cloud world says that it's not only ETL. It's not called word ETL now. It's called data and application integration. So when we were into the Power Center world, it was more about data integration, right? You pick it from a file, put it in a database. You put it from database to database, put it from database to one application. That's all. That's all was happening practically, right? That's what will be the use case. You bring the data right from a transactional system, put it into the warehouse, data mart, etc. Build a BI report on top of it. But now that was kind of a limited boundary within that Informatica was playing. But recent 10 years, when they introduced Informatica Cloud World, this is beyond the capability. And I have seen gradually how the services have started coming in, and those services started offering more flexibility and capability to the um, to the consumers of Informatica Cloud Platform. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but I think the good part here would be many of you are already coming from Informatica Power Center world background, and we are going to cover up here the cloud capability of it. That will really help all of you to pick up in the faster pace. But the people coming with the fresh background don't get, the fun of it. Okay, there will be detailed session given to all of you also that will make you ease of your learning. With that, I'll take a pause. Any question, any doubts, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to SBETL Labs with your queries over the Teams chat. That should help.
Uh, Hi,
Hi, Jiran, you want
hello.
to say something?
Yes. Do we see a separate job for application integration, data integration? So I'm not seeing any specific to application and data integration.
Yes,
We
you
are
have
seeing
not seen.
only informatics cloud only, right?
Okay, let me put your question once again. So you are saying we have not seen anything here with respect to data
Related.
integration.
Yeah. If we look, if we are looking job for informatics cloud, we are not seeing specific to data integration and application
Correct,
integration.
correct. Today's session was to cover up CAI component, cloud application, because there are certain set of people in this meeting right now who are looking forward only towards the CAI component. That's why we covered that first. There will be a detailed session again given on what we are going to cover as part of data integration. Okay.
Data integration also covering,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. 100%.
So fully cover or just
No, no, fully covered. See, let me put my words once again. Today's session was to give us the introduction of all of us, okay, and then to cover up only the topic of cloud application integration. Similarly, there will be another session where we will detail out about CDI also, cloud data integration. That will also get covered in full-fledged mode. Nothing will be suppressed. Okay.
in the course content you haven't mentioned data
Yes,
integration.
course content I have not mentioned because for that there will be a separate session. Over to Brahm. Would you like
Yeah.
to explain that?
Yeah. So, Jilan, I will share
Yes.
the CDI and CAI individual
Both.
content in the group
Yes.
in Telegram and WhatsApp groups. Okay, you can take a look at
Ah,
those
yes,
content.
yes.
Yeah, I will take
Yeah,
a share
I
today.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that message. That's why I wanted
Hmm.
to.
So I shared high level contents over there, but in detail content I will share today. Both.
Okay. Okay. Both will be covered, right?
Yeah, both will cover end-to-end components. Whatever the components or whatever the capability, tool capability is there, those are all the components we are going to discuss on both sessions, CDI and CAI, both areas.
Okay.
Yeah. Any others? Kishore Puvada, do you have any questions? You can feel free to take a clarification.
Now, how many classes you are going to cover and what timings?
So timing should be IST morning times only we are going to cover, and daily we are going to take 1.5 hour session. So the timings should be slight differ on weekly 3 days. Means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday it's going to take 8 to 9:30. Sorry, 7:30 to 9. And Monday, Friday, and Saturday we are going to take 7:30 to 9. So this is the IST timing. We are going to take the session. Total duration of the course is 25 days, and we are going to take almost 50 hours of the training. 15 plus hours is CAI, and 25 plus hours is in CDI.
Yeah, thank you.
Uday, do you have any questions?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, good. Renu, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Yeah, I think we are good for today. We are going to allow tomorrow also demo sessions, and sessions will continue from Monday on regular sessions. Before join the Monday session, you need to take a subscription for the course. Okay, I will share all those details. Whoever not joined in WhatsApp group, please ping me in Telegram. Whoever joined through the Telegram, please ping me your numbers, direct message to the Telegram. I will add the WhatsApp group. We are regularly providing the updates through the WhatsApp group only, so not in Telegram. So please share your direct numbers to the WhatsApp numbers to the Telegram direct messages. Okay, I will take a forward from there.
Okay, sure. So can you please share that course content in WhatsApp group today only? Whatever
yeah.
the course.
Sure. Post this session, I will share next 1 or 1.5 hour. I'm going to share those 2 documents. Okay, you can take it. I think we are good to conclude today's session. We'll join tomorrow at the same time. Okay, 7:30. We'll join. Keep on receiving updates through the WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.